What if the very building blocks of life, the molecules that gave rise to everything from the smallest microbe to the vast complexity of human beings, didn't originate on Earth at all? Picture this, drifting through the cold, empty stretches of space, nestled within clouds of cosmic dust or clinging to the surface of asteroids. The seeds of life may have been sown long before our planet even existed. It's a mystery as old as time itself. How did the first organic molecules, the precursors to life, come to be? And were they born in the fiery chaos of ancient stars, the icy depths of interstellar space, or somewhere even more extraordinary? For decades, scientists have grappled with these questions, piecing together clues from meteorites, lab experiments, and the farthest reaches of the observable universe. Some theories sound like they're pulled straight from science fiction: lightning striking a primordial soup, deep sea vents cooking up the ingredients of life, or even the possibility that these molecules hitchhiked across the galaxy on comets. Others are so elegant in their simplicity that they make you wonder why we didn't think of them sooner. But here's the thing, no one knows for sure, and that's what makes this journey so thrilling. Today, we're diving into 30 of the most compelling theories about how the universe's first organic molecules might have formed. From the wild to the wonderfully plausible, each idea opens a window into the cosmic alchemy that turned stardust into life. Could the answer lie in the heart of a dying star or in the icy grains of a distant nebula? Might life's beginnings be more common or more bizarre than we ever imagined? By the end of this exploration, you'll see our place in the universe in a whole new light. So let's unravel the mystery together, one astonishing theory at a time. One of the oldest and most enduring theories about life's origins takes us back to Earth's earliest days, a time when our planet was a swirling cauldron of chemical chaos. Imagine vast, simmering oceans under a sky crackling with lightning, where simple ingredients like water, methane, and ammonia mingled in a bubbling primordial soup. This idea, known as the Primordial Soup Hypothesis, suggests that under just the right conditions, these basic molecules could have collided, combined, and eventually given rise to the complex organic compounds essential for life. The theory gained groundbreaking support in the 1950s when chemists Stanley Miller and Harold Urey decided to put it to the test. In their now famous experiment, they recreated Earth's early atmosphere in a closed glass apparatus, filling it with water vapor, methane, hydrogen, and ammonia, then zapping the mixture with electrical sparks to mimic lightning. Within just days, something astonishing happened. The once clear liquid turned pink, then a deep, murky brown as amino acids. The building blocks of proteins began to form. For the first time, science had shown that the raw ingredients of life could arise from simple chemistry. But while the Miller-Urey experiment was revolutionary, it wasn't perfect. Later research revealed that Earth's early atmosphere might not have been as rich in methane and ammonia as once thought, casting some doubt on the exact conditions. Still, the core idea holds weight. Energy, whether from lightning, volcanic heat, or ultraviolet radiation, could have jump-started the chemical reactions needed to create life's precursors. What makes this theory so compelling is its simplicity. No cosmic journeys or interstellar interventions are necessary, just the right mix of elements, energy, and time. Yet, it also raises profound questions. Could lightning strikes alone really have forged something as intricate as life? And if so, why haven't we seen similar processes occurring naturally in the world today? The Primordial Soup Hypothesis may not be the final answer, but it set the stage for decades of exploration into how lifeless chemistry could cross the threshold into something alive. While the primordial soup theory imagines life sparking in Earth's ancient oceans under stormy skies, another compelling idea takes us to the very bottom of those oceans, where boiling water meets crushing pressure in a place that seems utterly inhospitable. Deep beneath the waves, along the cracks in Earth's crust where tectonic plates pull apart, hydrothermal vents spew mineral-rich fluids heated to extreme temperatures. These underwater chimneys, called black smokers, might seem like the last place life could emerge, yet some scientists believe they could be the cosmic kitchens where the first organic molecules were cooked up. The vents create a perfect chemical laboratory. Superheated water, sometimes reaching over 700 degrees Fahrenheit, surges through porous rock, dissolving minerals like iron and sulfur along the way. When this scalding fluid meets the frigid ocean water, it creates steep temperature and chemical gradients, essentially a natural battery that could have powered the formation of complex molecules. What makes this environment so special is the abundance of catalytic minerals lining the vents. These act like tiny chemical factories, helping simple molecules combine into more complex structures without the need for sunlight or atmospheric lightning. Even more fascinating is the life we find there today. Strange creatures like tube worms and extremophile bacteria thrive in these harsh conditions, living entirely on chemicals rather than sunlight. These organisms hint at how early life might have survived and even originated in such environments. The bacteria, in particular, belong to an ancient group called archaea, some of the oldest life forms on Earth. Their existence suggests that the chemistry around hydrothermal vents could have provided everything needed for life's first steps: energy, building blocks, and protection from the violent surface conditions of early Earth. But the hydrothermal vent theory isn't without its challenges. While the vents excel at producing simple organic compounds, some researchers question whether they could generate the precise complexity needed for life. Others argue that the extreme heat could break down delicate molecules as quickly as they form. Yet ongoing experiments have shown promising signs. Scientists have successfully synthesized amino acids and even primitive cell-like structures under vent-like conditions in labs. So could life have begun in these deep-sea pressure cookers? It's a tantalizing possibility, one that shifts our view of where and how life might arise, not just on Earth but on distant ocean worlds like Europa or Enceladus. If hydrothermal vents really did play a role, it would mean life didn't just emerge in a calm, sunlit pond, but in a place of fire and darkness where chemistry worked its magic against all odds. Now let's venture beyond our planet, because what if the ingredients for life didn't start here at all? Imagine tiny organic molecules, carbon-rich compounds essential for biology, riding shotgun on comets or asteroids, only to crash land on Earth and jumpstart the whole story. This idea, known as Panspermia, suggests that life's building blocks might have been delivered to our planet from the far reaches of space, like cosmic care packages from the universe itself. The evidence for this theory is surprisingly solid. Take the Murchison meteorite, a space rock that fell in Australia in 1969. When scientists analyzed its contents, they found something extraordinary: over 90 different amino acids, some of which are crucial for life as we know it. Even more fascinating, some of these amino acids weren't common on Earth at all, meaning they likely formed in the vast, cold expanse of space. That discovery shattered the assumption that organic molecules could only arise in planetary environments. Suddenly, the chemistry of life seemed to be written into the fabric of the cosmos. But how could delicate organic compounds survive the brutal journey through space? It turns out space isn't as empty or inhospitable as it seems. Comets and asteroids act like shielded cargo ships, their icy or rocky interiors protecting fragile molecules from radiation and extreme temperatures. Some studies even suggest that the outer layers of these objects could create a kind of cosmic incubator, where chemical reactions occur as they travel through different environments. And when they collide with a young planet like Earth, the impact might not be as destructive as we think. Certain organic materials can withstand the heat and pressure of entry, especially if they're buried deep inside the meteorite. Panspermia doesn't necessarily mean fully formed life arrived here, just the raw ingredients, but the implications are staggering. If amino acids and other organic molecules are common in space, then the universe could be littered with the seeds of life, waiting for the right conditions to take root. Some researchers take it a step further, proposing that even microbial life could survive interstellar trips, hidden inside rocks ejected from other worlds by asteroid impacts. It's a wild thought. Earth's earliest ancestors might have been cosmic travelers, drifting between stars before settling here. Of course, panspermia doesn't solve the ultimate mystery. Where did these molecules originate in the first place? Even if space delivered them, something had to create them. That brings us back to the stars themselves, where complex chemistry unfolds in the icy clouds between solar systems. But the idea reshapes our view of life's beginnings, from a solitary earthbound event to a process woven into the universe itself, where planets share materials across the vastness of space. Could our existence be the result of an ancient interstellar supply chain? We may not have definitive proof yet, but every meteorite that lands on Earth carries with it a potential clue, a whisper from the cosmos that life's ingredients are far more universal than we ever imagined. Deep in the frozen voids between stars, where temperatures plunge hundreds of degrees below zero, cosmic dust and ice grains drift like microscopic snowflakes. These unassuming particles might seem insignificant, just flecks of silicon, carbon, and water-frozen solid, but they could hold the key to one of the universe's greatest mysteries. Scientists now believe these icy grains, bombarded by radiation in the darkness of space, may have acted as tiny chemical factories, assembling the very first organic molecules long before planets even existed. The process works like this. When ultraviolet light or cosmic rays strike these icy grains, they break apart simple molecules like water, methane, and ammonia trapped within them. The shattered fragments then recombine into more complex structures: amino acids, sugars, even the precursors to DNA. It's a bit like shaking a box of puzzle pieces until some of them randomly snap together. Lab experiments have recreated these conditions by chilling mixtures of gases to near absolute zero, zapping them with radiation, and watching as organic compounds emerge. The results are startling. These simulations produce not just simple molecules, but over a dozen different amino acids, mirroring what we've found in meteorites. But the real smoking gun comes from telescopes peering into molecular clouds, those vast stellar nurseries where new stars and planets form. In these clouds, astronomers have detected fingerprints of complex organics like ethanol and formaldehyde swirling among the ice and dust. Some clouds even contain molecules as intricate as acetic acid, the main component of vinegar, suggesting that chemistry in space is far more sophisticated than we once thought. What makes this theory so compelling is its universality. Unlike Earth-bound scenarios which depend on specific planetary conditions, cosmic dust chemistry could happen anywhere in the galaxy. Every young solar system is born from these molecular clouds, meaning the ingredients for life might be baked into the recipe of every new planet. Even more mind-bending, some researchers propose that these icy grains could have seeded Earth directly, arriving with comets and asteroids during our planet's violent infancy. Yet mysteries remain. While we've seen the molecules these processes can create, we still don't fully understand how they leap from simple organics to the complexity required for life. Could random radiation strikes alone bridge that gap, or does this cosmic chemistry need planetary environments to take the next step? Either way, the idea transforms our understanding of life's origins, from a rare planetary accident to something potentially written into the fabric of the universe itself, waiting only for the right conditions to awaken. Among the many theories about life's origins, one of the most intriguing takes us to the shores of ancient Earth, not for a peaceful stroll, but to witness a phenomenon as dramatic as it is unexpected. Picture this: vast primordial beaches littered with radioactive minerals like uranium and thorium. their unstable atoms crackling with energy. These weren't just rocks, they could have been nature's first chemistry labs, providing the precise conditions needed to forge life's earliest building blocks. At the heart of this idea lies a simple but powerful concept. Radiation, often thought of as purely destructive, might have played a creative role in life's origin. Radioactive elements like uranium emit alpha particles, tiny, high-energy projectiles that, when they collide with surrounding molecules, can trigger cascades of chemical reactions. On Earth's early coastlines, these minerals would have been bathed in water rich with simple organic compounds. As waves lapped over them, the radiation could have acted like a molecular sculptor, chiseling basic chemicals into more complex structures like amino acids or even nucleotides, the backbone of DNA. The strongest evidence for this theory comes from an unassuming but ancient mineral, zircon. These tiny, durable crystals, some as old as 4.4 billion years, have survived virtually unchanged since Earth's infancy. When scientists examined zircon samples, they found something remarkable: traces of carbon and nitrogen, key ingredients for life, trapped inside. Even more compelling, the crystals showed signs of having been exposed to liquid water, suggesting they formed in environments like beaches or shallow seas. If radioactive minerals were present in these same waters, their energy could have turned these locales into hotspots for organic synthesis. But how would this process actually work? Imagine a grain of uranium-bearing sand sitting in a tidal pool. As it decays, it releases energy not as a single explosive burst, but in a steady, controlled manner like a slow-burning fuse. This gradual release might have been crucial, allowing delicate organic molecules to form and accumulate without being instantly destroyed. Recent lab experiments support this. When researchers simulated ancient beach conditions with radioactive minerals and simple chemicals, they observed the formation of organic molecules like formic acid and formaldehyde compounds that serve as stepping stones to more complex life chemistry. Of course, the radioactive beach hypothesis isn't without its skeptics. Some argue that radiation's destructive effects might outweigh its potential as a catalyst, breaking apart molecules faster than they can assemble. Others question whether these processes could generate enough complexity to jumpstart life. Yet the theory has a unique advantage. Unlike deep-sea vents or atmospheric lightning, radioactive decay is relentless and widespread. It doesn't depend on fleeting events like storms or volcanic eruptions, but offers a constant, ubiquitous energy source across Earth's early coastlines. What makes this idea so captivating is its irony. We often think of radiation as a threat to life, yet it might have been midwife to life's birth. If true, it paints a striking picture of our planet's infancy, a world where the very forces we now shield ourselves from could have been the spark that set life in motion. And it raises a tantalizing question. If radioactive beaches were life's workshops, might similar processes be unfolding right now on distant, mineral-rich exoplanets? The universe, it seems, has a way of turning even its harshest environments into cradles of possibility. Beneath the roiling clouds of early Earth, where volcanoes spewed rivers of molten rock and gases into the sky, another chapter in the story of life's origins may have been written. These geological giants didn't just shape the planet's surface. They might have acted as colossal chemical reactors, transforming simple volcanic emissions into the complex organic molecules that paved the way for life. The process begins with the gases themselves. Eruptions released vast amounts of methane, ammonia, carbon dioxide, and water vapor, ingredients that, when heated and mixed under the right conditions, can undergo remarkable transformations. Picture a volcanic vent, its edges crusted with minerals, exhaling plumes of gas into the thick, humid air. As these gases rise, they encounter geothermal heat or even lightning strikes, triggering reactions that stitch simple molecules into more elaborate structures. Laboratory experiments have shown that exposing these gas mixtures to energy sources like ultraviolet light or electrical discharges, conditions common near volcanic activity, can produce amino acids, sugars, and even the nitrogenous bases found in RNA and DNA. But the real magic might have happened not just in the air but on the ground. Volcanic landscapes are often dotted with hot springs and fumaroles, where gases bubble through scalding water infused with minerals like iron and sulfur. These elements act as natural catalysts, accelerating chemical reactions without being consumed in the process. In places like Iceland's geothermal fields today, scientists observe similar environments producing organic molecules like formic acid and methanol, hinting that ancient volcanic systems could have been far more productive. One particularly compelling piece of evidence comes from the Murchison meteorite, which, as we've discussed, contained a rich array of organics. Some researchers argue that the types of molecules found in such meteorites closely resemble those produced in volcanic gas experiments, suggesting Earth's early chemistry might have mirrored processes occurring elsewhere in the solar system. Yet this theory isn't without its challenges. Volcanic gases are often acidic, and some researchers question whether these harsh conditions would allow delicate organic molecules to persist rather than break apart. Others point out that while volcanoes can produce life's building blocks, they might not provide the stable environments needed for those molecules to accumulate and interact over time. Still, the sheer scale of volcanic activity on early Earth, with eruptions far more frequent and intense than today, means even inefficient processes could have generated vast quantities of organics. What makes this idea so fascinating is its universality. Active volcanoes aren't unique to Earth. They've been observed on Mars, Venus, and even distant moons like Io. If volcanic chemistry really did contribute to life's origins here, it raises the tantalizing possibility that similar reactions could be unfolding right now on other worlds wherever heat, gases, and minerals converge in the cosmic dance of creation. So next time you see footage of a volcano's fiery outburst, consider this. Beneath the spectacle of destruction might lie the seeds of something far more enduring. The same forces that once ravaged our planet's surface could have quietly, relentlessly, assembled the very materials that would one day stir to life. Could the humble grains of clay beneath our feet hold the secret to life's origins? While we often picture dramatic scenarios like lightning strikes or deep sea vents, there's a quieter, subtler theory that's just as compelling. Imagine tiny, layered sheets of clay minerals, common components of soil and sediment, acting as nature's first assembly lines, meticulously organizing simple molecules into the complex structures that would one day become life. This idea, known as clay mineral catalysis, suggests that these unassuming particles might have played a starring role in one of the universe's greatest chemical dramas. Clay minerals have a unique structure that makes them perfect for this role. Their surfaces are riddled with microscopic nooks and crannies, creating a vast landscape of reactive sites where molecules can gather and interact. Even more importantly, these minerals carry subtle electrical charges which can attract and stabilize organic compounds like amino acids or nucleotides, holding them in just the right orientation to bond. Think of it like a molecular scaffold, a framework that takes scattered building blocks and arranges them into something far more intricate. The evidence for this theory comes from some remarkably simple yet profound experiments. In the 1980s, chemist James Ferris demonstrated that certain types of clay could dramatically accelerate the formation of RNA-like chains from simple nucleotides. When these molecules settled onto the clay's surface, they lined up like beads on a string, linking together into polymers far more efficiently than they would in free solution. Later studies showed that clays could also concentrate organic molecules from dilute solutions, essentially corralling them into close quarters where reactions became inevitable. But why would clay be such an effective stage for life's chemical ballet? The answer lies in its dual nature. Clay minerals are both stable and dynamic. They persist over geological timescales, yet their surfaces are constantly shifting, breaking and reforming in ways that could have shielded delicate organic molecules from harsh environmental conditions. Some researchers even propose that the repeating patterns in clay's atomic structure might have served as a template, guiding the formation of early genetic molecules with a precision that random chemistry couldn't match. Of course, this theory isn't without its skeptics. While clays excel at fostering polymerization, some question whether they could have generated the sheer diversity of organic molecules needed for life's origins. Others point out that clay-rich environments might have been too dry or too acidic for certain reactions to thrive, yet recent discoveries have only strengthened the case. Scientists have found organic rich clay deposits in some of Earth's oldest rocks, suggesting these minerals were indeed present and active during the planet's earliest days. What makes clay mineral catalysis so elegant is its universality. Unlike scenarios that rely on rare or extreme conditions, clays are everywhere, on riverbanks, in ocean sediments, even on other planets like Mars. If they really did help jumpstart life's chemistry, it would mean the universe might be quietly stacking the deck in favor of life, one microscopic layer at a time. So the next time you see a patch of wet clay, take a closer look. You might be staring at the very cradle of existence itself, a humble substance that turned stardust into something alive. Electricity crackling through the thick, ashy plumes of ancient volcanoes might have been more than just a spectacular light show. It could have been a key ingredient in cooking up life's first molecules. Picture the scene: towering volcanic eruptions spewing dense clouds of gas and ash miles into the sky, where turbulent winds whip particles into swirling collisions. Inside these tempestuous clouds, static charges build until crack. A bolt of lightning splits the darkness, unleashing a surge of energy that transforms simple volcanic gases into something far more complex. This electrifying idea draws its strength from modern lab experiments. Scientists have recreated these conditions by injecting mixtures of water vapor, methane, and ammonia gases commonly belched by volcanoes into chambers, then zapping them with artificial lightning or plasma. The results are striking. Within minutes, the once simple gases reorganize into amino acids, the same building blocks found in proteins. It's a process that mirrors the famous Miller-Urey experiment, but with a volcanic twist. Unlike atmospheric lightning, which might strike randomly, volcanic discharges offer a concentrated energy source, repeatedly bombarding gas clouds where the raw materials are already densely packed. But what makes volcanic lightning so special? For starters, the ash particles themselves act as tiny catalysts. Each grain provides a surface for molecules to cling to, increasing the chances of collisions when lightning strikes. The extreme heat of the discharge, reaching thousands of degrees, lasts only microseconds, but that's enough to break apart stubborn chemical bonds. As the system rapidly cools, the fragments reassemble into more complex structures, much like shattered glass melting and reforming into intricate new shapes. Real-world observations back this up. During the 2010 eruption of Iceland's Eyjafjallajökull, satellites detected intense lightning activity within its ash cloud. When researchers analyzed ash samples afterward, they found traces of organic compounds, hinting that nature might still be running these reactions today. Even more compelling, similar organic signatures have been spotted in the plumes of Enceladus, Saturn's icy moon, where cryovulcanos spew water vapor and other gases into space, suggesting this process isn't unique to Earth. Yet challenges remain. Volcanic lightning is unpredictable, and some argue that the harsh, acidic conditions in eruption plumes might destroy fragile organics as quickly as they form. Others point out that while these discharges can create amino acids, assembling them into longer chains like proteins might require calmer environments. Still, the theory offers a thrilling synthesis of two earlier ideas: the energy of lightning and the chemical richness of volcanoes, combined into a single dynamic engine for organic synthesis. Imagine standing on the slopes of an ancient volcano, watching as each electric burst illuminates the swirling ash unknowingly weaving the first threads of life's tapestry in flashes of brilliance. If this theory holds, it means the raw power of geological violence and the subtlety of chemistry worked hand in hand, turning destruction into creation under Earth's stormy skies. And if it happened here, why not on other fiery worlds across the cosmos? High above Earth's surface or deep in the frozen reaches of outer space, a quiet revolution in chemistry may have been taking place, one sparked not by heat or lightning, but by the relentless glow of ultraviolet light. Picture vast fields of ice stretching across the landscape of a young planet or coating dust grains in the darkness between stars. These seemingly inert surfaces could have been bustling laboratories where UV radiation from the sun or distant stars broke apart simple molecules and reassembled them into life's precursors. This process hinges on a fascinating quirk of physics. When UV light strikes ice containing trapped gases like methane, carbon monoxide, or ammonia, it doesn't just bounce off, it transfers energy to the molecules, breaking their bonds. The resulting fragments, now highly reactive, scurry across the icy surface until they collide and form new, more complex compounds. Experiments simulating these conditions have produced astonishing results. Amino acids, sugars, and even nucleobases, the very letters of life's genetic code emerging from what was once just frozen water and simple gases. The real-world evidence for this theory lies in places like Jupiter's moon Europa, where telescopes have detected organic molecules on its icy crust. Europa's surface is bombarded by intense radiation from Jupiter's magnetic field, creating perfect conditions for UV-driven chemistry. Even more compelling, when the Cassini spacecraft analyzed Saturn's moon Enceladus, it found plumes of water vapor containing complex organics erupting from beneath its icy shell, hinting that similar processes might be occurring in subsurface oceans where UV can't reach directly. This suggests the reactions could start on the surface, then be transported to more stable environments below. On Earth, scientists have recreated these icy reactions in labs using vacuum chambers chilled to near absolute zero. By irradiating ice mixtures with UV lamps, they've watched as simple molecules morphed into complex organics right before their instruments. Some of these experiments even produced molecules like ribose, a key sugar in RNA, demonstrating that ice isn't just a passive medium but an active participant in the chemistry. The ice's crystalline structure appears to guide the formation of certain molecules, almost like a molecular mold, yet mysteries remain. While UV can create life's building blocks, can it also assemble them into the long chains needed for proteins or RNA? Some researchers propose that freezing conditions might actually help by concentrating molecules as ice forms, increasing their chances of linking together. Others point to cyclic processes, daily thawing and refreezing, or tidal flexing on moons like Europa, that could provide both the energy and the repetition needed to drive complexity forward. What makes this theory so compelling is its sheer universality. Icy environments exist everywhere, from comets drifting through space to the polar caps of Mars to the frosty plumes of distant exoplanets. If UV radiation on ice really did contribute to life's origins, it would mean the universe isn't just peppered with the ingredients for life. It's actively cooking them in plain sight, one photon at a time. And that changes everything about where and how we might find life beyond Earth. Deep beneath our feet, where the weight of the planet crushes rock into new forms and temperatures soar past the melting point of steel, another surprising contender for life's origins emerges. Forget the oceans, forget the atmosphere. What if the first organic molecules were forged in the seething, high-pressure depths of Earth's crust and mantle? This idea, known as deep Earth pressure synthesis, suggests that the very forces we associate with destruction, immense pressure and scorching heat, could have been the architects of life's earliest chemistry. The key lies in how molecules behave under extreme conditions. At the surface, complex organic compounds might seem fragile, but deep underground, where pressures can exceed 50,000 times that of sea level and temperatures climb above 700 degrees Celsius, the rules change entirely. Experiments using diamond anvil cells devices that compress tiny samples between the hardest known material have shown something remarkable. When simple ingredients like water, carbon dioxide, and minerals like olivine are subjected to these brutal conditions, they reorganize into more complex molecules. Methane forms, carboxylic acids appear. In some trials, researchers have even observed the creation of amino acids, all without the need for sunlight or surface-level chemical reactions. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence comes from the mantle itself. Diamonds, those glittering symbols of luxury, are essentially time capsules from Earth's depths. Some of these gems contain microscopic pockets of fluid, trapped during their formation over 1 billion years ago. When scientists analyzed these inclusions, they found not just water and carbon dioxide, but traces of organic compounds like methane and ethane. This suggests that the mantle isn't just a sterile, molten wasteland. It might be a hidden reservoir of prebiotic chemistry, where reactions unfold in ways we're only beginning to understand. But how could molecules formed so deep ever reach the surface? The answer lies in the planet's restless geology. Subduction zones where tectonic plates dive beneath one another drag surface material downward, but volcanic activity and mantle plumes constantly recycle material back up. Imagine a vast conveyor belt carrying carbon-rich minerals into the depths where pressure and heat transform them, then spewing them back to the surface through eruptions or hydrothermal vents. This cyclical process could have provided a steady supply of organics to Earth's more hospitable regions. Critics of this theory point out that while high-pressure environments can create simple organics, it's unclear whether they could foster the complexity needed for life. Yet recent experiments have pushed the boundaries. In one study, scientists subjected formic acid, a simple organic compound, to mantle-like conditions and watched as it linked into longer chains resembling the backbone of proteins. Another team recreated the pressures found near tectonic boundaries and found that mineral surfaces could act as templates, aligning molecules in ways that promote polymerization. What makes deep Earth pressure synthesis so tantalizing is its universality. Planets with active geology, Mars in its past, or super-Earths orbiting distant stars could harbor similar environments. If the building blocks of life really can form in these hidden crucibles, it vastly expands the range of places we might search for life's origins. So next time you feel the ground beneath your feet, remember, the story of life might not just be written in the stars or the seas, but in the seething, secret heart of the planet itself. When massive asteroids or comets slammed into early Earth, the cataclysmic force didn't just carve craters, it might have jump-started the chemistry of life itself. These impacts delivered unimaginable energy, with shockwaves rippling through the planet's crust and temperatures spiking hotter than the surface of the sun. In the chaos, simple molecules could have been forged into the complex organic compounds that eventually formed life's foundation. Take the Sudbury Basin in Canada, one of Earth's oldest and largest impact structures. Formed nearly 2 billion years ago, this crater contains layers of melted rock and minerals that tell a fascinating story. Geologists have discovered traces of carbon-rich materials and unusual metal deposits there, materials that only form under extreme pressures and temperatures. Laboratory experiments simulating asteroid impact show similar results. When mixtures of water, ammonia, and carbon are subjected to high-energy shockwaves, they reorganize into amino acids and even nucleotide bases. The violent energy of an impact, it turns out, can act like a molecular hammer, smashing simple ingredients together with enough force to create something entirely new. But the real magic might lie in the aftermath. After the initial devastation, impact sites become hotspots for chemical activity. The heat from the collision creates hydrothermal systems where water seeps through fractured rock, dissolving minerals and circulating in underground reservoirs. These environments mirror the conditions around deep-sea vents, where heat and chemistry combine to sustain life today. At the Horton Impact Crater in the Arctic, researchers have found microbial communities thriving in these exact conditions, evidence that craters aren't just scars but potential cradles. Perhaps most intriguing is how impacts could have concentrated life's ingredients. When a meteorite strikes, it doesn't just deliver energy, it also carries materials from space. We know some meteorites are rich in organic molecules, and the force of impact would scatter these compounds across the landscape while also generating new ones. The result, a concentrated cocktail of prebiotic chemicals, all gathered in one place by cosmic violence. Critics argue that impacts might be too destructive, vaporizing delicate organics before they can assemble. But studies of actual craters tell a different story. In the Nördlinger Rise crater in Germany, scientists have detected preserved organic matter in sediment layers dating back to the impact event, proof that some molecules can survive even the most violent collisions. So while asteroids were once seen as agents of extinction, they might also have been midwives to life's beginnings. Each impact was a planetary-scale chemistry experiment, where heat, pressure, and cosmic ingredients combined in ways we're only beginning to understand. And if it happened here, why not on Mars or Europa, or any world where celestial collisions once shaped the surface? The universe, it seems, has a way of turning destruction into creation. Along the rugged coastlines of early Earth, where ocean waves rhythmically filled shallow depressions in the rock only to retreat under the sun's heat, nature might have been running one of its most elegant experiments. Tidal pools, those transient basins where seawater collects, evaporates, and renews with each cycle, could have acted as planetary-scale concentrators, slowly distilling the chemical precursors of life into something extraordinary. Here's how it works. As water evaporates from these pools under sunlight, dissolved compounds become increasingly concentrated. Amino acids, nucleotides, and other organics carried in by the tides wouldn't just linger, they'd accumulate, their rising density making chemical interactions inevitable. Think of it like reducing a broth to its richest essence by simmering away the excess liquid. But tidal pools offer more than just concentration. Their cyclical nature, flooding with fresh seawater, then evaporating, creates repeating phases of dilution and enrichment, a pulsating rhythm that could have driven molecules through stages of assembly and refinement. Laboratory simulations support this beautifully. When researchers recreated ancient tidal pool conditions with organic-laden water and natural evaporation cycles, they observed not just concentration but the formation of longer molecular chains, as if the pools were gently coaxing simple building blocks into more complex arrangements. Even more compelling is how these environments solve one of prebiotic chemistry's biggest puzzles, the water paradox. While water is essential for life, it also hinders certain key reactions like the linking of amino acids into proteins because it competes with the bonds trying to form. Tidal pools sidestep this brilliantly. During evaporation, molecules get close enough to overcome water's interference, yet the returning tides prevent complete desiccation, preserving delicate structures. Modern analogues hint at this process in action. In places like Shark Bay, Australia, where hypersaline pools mimic early Earth conditions, scientists have found microbial mats thriving in these fluctuating environments. The mats aren't just surviving, they're exploiting the same concentration gradients that might have once assembled life's first molecules. But the real genius of tidal pools lies in their universality. Unlike deep-sea vents or volcanic zones, these shallow basins would have existed by the thousands along Earth's primordial coastlines, each one a miniature laboratory running countless parallel experiments. And if life's chemistry could arise in something as unassuming as a sunlit rock hollow, It suggests the universe might not need rare or extreme conditions to cross the threshold from chemistry to biology, just patience, rhythm, and the ceaseless pulse of the tides. Deep beneath the ocean's surface, where scalding vents spew mineral-rich fluids into the frigid water, a humble mineral might have played an unexpected role in life's origin, fool's gold. Known chemically as iron sulfide or pyrite, this glimmering substance isn't just a geological curiosity. According to chemist Gunther Wechterscheuser's groundbreaking iron-sulfur world hypothesis, the surfaces of these metallic crystals could have acted as nature's first chemical factory, jump-starting the reactions that eventually led to life. At the heart of this theory lies pyrite's remarkable ability to donate and accept electrons, a property that makes it a powerhouse catalyst. Picture a hydrothermal vent's rocky surface crusted with these metallic crystals. As hot, sulfur-rich fluids gush from below, they react with dissolved iron in the seawater, forming fresh pyrite. But here's the twist: when pyrite crystallizes, it releases tiny bursts of energy, enough to drive simple molecules like carbon dioxide and hydrogen toward more complex forms. Wechterscheuser proposed that these reactions could have created organic compounds right on the mineral's surface, building chains of carbon-based molecules step by step. Lab experiments lend striking support to this idea. When scientists simulated vent conditions by mixing iron sulfide, nickel sulfide, and simple gases like carbon monoxide, they observed something astonishing. The mixture spontaneously generated acetic acid, a key metabolic molecule, and even longer carbon chains resembling fatty acids, the building blocks of cell membranes. What makes this so compelling is how closely it mirrors core metabolic pathways still used by life today. Modern organisms rely on iron-sulfur clusters in proteins to shuttle electrons during energy production, a biochemical relic that might trace back to these mineral-catalyzed reactions. But the iron-sulfur world hypothesis goes even further. Wechterscheuser suggested that these mineral surfaces didn't just produce isolated molecules, they could have formed a primitive metabolic network. Imagine pyrite's crystalline lattice acting like a scaffold, where reactants line up in precise arrangements, fostering reactions that feed into one another. Over time, this self-sustaining chemical cycle might have grown more complex, eventually budding off to form the first protocells. Critics point out gaps, like how these surface-bound reactions could transition to free-floating cellular life. Yet the theory's elegance lies in its grounding in geochemistry we know exists. Hydrothermal vents are still active today, and their iron-sulfur minerals continue to catalyze reactions. If this hypothesis holds, it would mean life didn't emerge despite Earth's harsh conditions, but because of them, forged in the crucible of chemistry where rock, water, and energy collided. So next time you see a piece of pyrite glittering in the light, consider this. That unassuming mineral might hold the secret to how stardust became flesh and blood, one electron transfer at a time. In the molecular dance that gave rise to life, one unassuming compound might have played a starring role. Formamide, this colorless liquid often used today as an industrial solvent, is far more than a simple chemical. Under the right conditions, it can transform into the very letters of life's genetic code. Formamide's magic lies in its structure, just one carbon atom bonded to nitrogen, oxygen, and hydrogen. But this simplicity is deceptive. When exposed to energy sources like ultraviolet light or geothermal heat, its molecules break apart and reassemble like cosmic puzzle pieces. The fragments recombine into nucleobases adenine, guanine, cytosine, and uracil, the fundamental components of RNA and DNA. Experiments simulating early Earth conditions have proven this startling transformation. In one study, researchers irradiated formamide with UV light and watched as up to 10% of the solution converted into nucleobases within days. Even more remarkably, when they added common meteorite minerals like zircon or clay, the reaction became even more efficient, producing not just isolated bases but chains resembling snippets of genetic material. But why would formamide be abundant on early Earth? The answer lies in its cosmic ubiquity. It's been detected in molecular clouds, comets, and even the tails of comets, suggesting it rained down on our planet during its fiery infancy. Volcanic activity could have produced it too, as geothermal reactions between water and hydrogen cyanide, another simple, space-borne molecule. Once formed, shallow pools near volcanic fields might have concentrated formamide through evaporation, creating ideal conditions for solar radiation to work its alchemy. There's an elegant symmetry to this process. The same UV light that can break down complex molecules on planetary surfaces might have been the sculptor of life's blueprints. And geothermal vents, often seen as competitors to this theory, could have contributed too, not just through heat but by supplying catalytic minerals that guided the reactions. The resulting nucleobases wouldn't have floated freely for long. Tidal currents or rainwater could have washed them into protected environments like clay-rich ponds or mineral caves, where they'd encounter the other ingredients needed for life's next steps. Critics point out that while formamide produces nucleobases efficiently, assembling them into functional RNA remains a hurdle, yet recent experiments show promise. When formamide derivatives are exposed to cycles of wetting and drying like those in tidal pools, they spontaneously form longer chains. This suggests that formamide didn't just create life's raw materials, it might have helped stitch them together into something capable of growth and replication. So next time you see a bottle of formamide in a lab, take a moment to appreciate its hidden legacy. What looks like ordinary liquid could hold the echoes of a 4-billion-year-old recipe, one where sunlight, heat, and a simple molecule conspired to write the first draft of life's instruction manual. And if it happened here, where else in the universe might this quiet chemistry be unfolding? Long before trees or even bacteria existed, Earth's atmosphere might have resembled the photochemical smog that blankets modern cities. A thick, soupy haze where sunlight fractured simple gases into reactive fragments, sparking an invisible storm of chemical creativity. Unlike today's pollution, this primordial smog could have been life's first alchemist, transforming mundane molecules into the complex organics that set the stage for biology. The process begins with ultraviolet light from the young sun, far more intense than what reaches us today. As these high-energy photons slammed into molecules like methane, ammonia, and water vapor, they shattered them into radicals, highly reactive fragments with unpaired electrons desperate to bond. Picture a cosmic game of bumper cars where these radicals collide and combine into new configurations. Some reformed into familiar compounds, while others stumbled into uncharted chemical territory, forging molecules like formaldehyde or hydrogen cyanide. These might sound like industrial chemicals, but they're also stepping stones to sugars and amino acids, life's essential ingredients. Lab experiments simulating these conditions reveal just how productive this chaos could be. When scientists fill reaction chambers with early Earth gas mixtures and expose them to UV lamps, the results are astonishing. Within hours, the mixture teems with organic compounds, from simple alcohols to the nucleobases found in RNA. The key lies in the smog's layered structure. Near the top of the atmosphere, intense UV breaks molecules apart, but deeper down where light is filtered, the fragments have time to reassemble into more stable structures. This creates a natural distillation process where harsh reactions at the top feed gentler synthesis below. Real-world evidence comes from an unexpected place, Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Its thick, nitrogen-rich atmosphere is bathed in UV radiation, producing a hydrocarbon smog so dense it hides the moon's surface. When the Cassini probe analyzed this haze, it detected organic molecules with structures startlingly similar to those generated in lab simulations of early Earth. If Titan's atmosphere, lacking free oxygen and rich in simple hydrocarbons, can churn out complex organics today, it's plausible Earth did the same billions of years ago. Critics argue that without a way to concentrate these molecules, they might have remained dilute in the vast atmosphere, but nature has solutions for that too. Raindrops could have scavenged organics from the air, depositing them in surface pools where evaporation concentrated them further. Alternatively, electrostatic forces might have caused smog particles to clump together, forming larger aggregates that settled out of the air. Either way, what began as atmospheric chemistry could have become ocean chemistry or even beachfront chemistry, where waves lapped ashore carrying this molecular bounty. What makes this theory so compelling is its duality. The same UV radiation that can destroy complex molecules also provides the energy to create them. It's a delicate balance, one that hinges on atmosphere composition, light intensity, and even planetary rotation. Get the mix right, and you've got a planet-wide factory for organic synthesis. Get it wrong, and the fragments might never progress beyond simplicity. So while we think of smog today as a byproduct of pollution, Earth's first haze might have been something far more profound. A shimmering chemical womb where sunlight spun air into the precursors of life itself. And if that's true, then the very air we now breathe carries echoes of that ancient alchemy, a reminder that life's origins might be written not just in rock or sea, but in the sky above us. Ripping through the void at nearly the speed of light, cosmic rays, high-energy particles from distant supernova and black holes might have been more than just celestial curiosities. They could have been the universe's ultimate chemists, bombarding Earth's early atmosphere and surface with enough energy to stitch simple molecules into the complex organics that seeded life. Unlike the gentle warmth of sunlight or the crackle of lightning, these subatomic bullets pack a staggering punch, capable of triggering reactions no other energy source can match. The process starts when a cosmic ray, often a proton accelerated to unimaginable speeds, slams into a molecule in the upper atmosphere. The collision shatters the target into fragments, but the real magic happens in the aftermath. These fragments, now ionized and brimming with energy, become catalysts for cascading reactions. Nitrogen and carbon monoxide molecules, normally inert, can fuse into hydrogen cyanide, a key precursor for amino acids. Water vapor might splinter into hydroxyl radicals that attack methane, forging formaldehyde, another building block for sugars. Lab experiments using particle accelerators to mimic cosmic rays have confirmed this startling chemistry. When scientists bombard mixtures of early Earth gases with high-energy protons, the results are unambiguous. Within hours, the once simple brew teems with organic compounds, from acetic acid to glycine, the simplest amino acid. But cosmic rays don't just work in the air. On the surface, they could have turned ordinary ice into a chemical factory. Imagine a frozen pond on ancient Earth, its surface laced with trapped ammonia and carbon dioxide. A cosmic ray piercing the ice would generate secondary particles called muons, which scatter through the frozen matrix, breaking bonds and leaving a trail of reactive fragments in their wake. As these fragments reconnect, shielded from UV destruction by the ice itself, they form stable organics. Antarctic ice cores offer a clue. Deep within these ancient glaciers, researchers have found hydrogen peroxide and organic molecules concentrated in layers corresponding to periods of heightened cosmic ray activity. The theory gains even more traction when we look beyond Earth. Europa's icy crust, bathed in Jupiter's intense radiation belts, shows spectral signatures of hydrogen peroxide and sulfuric acid compounds that cosmic rays are known to produce. Mars, with its thin atmosphere, might have experienced even more intense cosmic ray bombardment, potentially explaining the organic molecules detected by rovers like Curiosity. Critics point out that cosmic rays are destructive as often as they are creative. Their high energy can break down complex molecules just as easily as they form them. Yet nature has a workaround. On early Earth, turbulent weather and geological activity could have quickly buried freshly minted organics under layers of sediment or washed them into protective pools, shielding them from further damage. What makes cosmic ray chemistry so captivating is its sheer universality. Every planet, moon, or asteroid in the galaxy is bombarded by these particles, meaning the ingredients for life could be brewing anywhere with the right atmospheric or icy conditions. It's a humbling thought. The same forces that light up the night sky with supernova might also have lit the spark of life itself, one high-energy collision at a time. While black smokers dominate discussions of hydrothermal vents, another type of vent system hidden in the ocean's depths might have offered an even more promising cradle for life's beginnings. Unlike their acidic cousins, these alkaline vents, also known as white smokers, release warm, mineral-rich fluids with a chemistry so elegant it mirrors the very energy-harvesting mechanisms used by every living cell today. The difference starts with geology. Alkaline vents form when seawater percolates down through Earth's crust, reacting with olivine-rich rocks like serpentinite in a process called serpentinization. This reaction produces two key things: hydrogen gas, a potent reducing agent, and fluids rich in hydroxides that make the water highly alkaline, sometimes with a pH as high as 11. When these fluids rise and meet the acidic ocean, they create a natural proton gradient, much like the ones our cells use to generate energy. It's this gradient that could have acted as life's first battery, driving the assembly of complex molecules from simple ingredients. Lab experiments have brought this theory to life. When scientists recreated alkaline vent conditions by mixing hydrogen, carbon dioxide, and mineral catalysts like iron-nickel sulfides, they observed something remarkable. The system began producing not just organic molecules like formate and acetate, but also more complex structures resembling the metabolic pathways found in modern microbes. Even more compelling, the experiment spontaneously generated microscopic compartments, bubbles of mineral membranes that could have served as prototypes for the first cells. These structures form naturally when vent fluids mix with seawater, creating layered barriers similar to the lipid bilayers that encase all living cells today. The biological parallels are impossible to ignore. Every organism on Earth, from the simplest bacteria to human beings, relies on proton gradients to power ATP synthase, the molecular machine that generates energy. Alkaline vents offer a prebiotic version of this system, where the natural chemistry of rock and water could have provided both the building blocks and the energy to organize them. It's as if life didn't need to invent this process from scratch. It inherited the blueprint from Earth's own geology, yet the theory isn't without challenges. Some question whether alkaline vents could have produced enough organic diversity to jumpstart life, or if their environments were stable enough to sustain ongoing reactions. But recent discoveries are tipping the scales. The Lost City Hydrothermal Field, a real-world alkaline vent system near the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, has been continuously active for over 120,000 years, proof that these environments can persist far longer than anyone imagined. And the minerals found there, particularly those containing iron and sulfur, are eerily similar to the clusters still used by enzymes in modern metabolism. What makes the alkaline vent hypothesis so revolutionary is its elegance. Rather than relying on random lightning strikes or interstellar delivery, it suggests life emerged from the steady, predictable chemistry of Earth itself, a chemistry that still powers ecosystems in the darkest depths of our oceans. And if that's true, then the line between geology and biology might be far blurrier than we ever dreamed. Saturn's moon Titan, shrouded in a perpetual orange haze, offers a window into a process that might have jump-started organic chemistry on Earth billions of years ago. High above Titan's icy surface, sunlight and radiation bombard nitrogen and methane molecules, shattering them into reactive fragments that recombine into complex organic compounds called tholins. These reddish-brown polymers rain down onto Titan's surface, coating its dunes and methane lakes with a sticky residue rich in the kinds of molecules that could have been life's raw materials. What makes this so fascinating is that early Earth's atmosphere, before oxygen became abundant, might have hosted eerily similar chemistry. Think of Titan as a frozen time capsule. Its thick nitrogen atmosphere laced with methane mirrors what scientists believe Earth's air was like over 4 billion years ago. When researchers simulate Titan's upper atmosphere in labs, shooting UV light or electrical discharges through methane-nitrogen mixtures, they produce tholins with surprising properties. These compounds aren't just random sludge, they contain amino acids, nucleotide bases, and even the building blocks of cell membranes. The same reactions could have unfolded in Earth's ancient skies, where sunlight fractured methane and nitrogen into radicals that assembled into organic haze particles far more complex than anyone imagined. The parallels don't stop there. Just as Titan's tholins drift downward, Earth's primordial haze would have settled onto the surface, carried by rain or electrostatic forces. Some calculations suggest this organic rain could have delivered as much as 100 million tons of carbon-based material to Earth's surface each year, a steady drizzle of prebiotic ingredients. In places like tidal pools or volcanic hot springs, these tholin-derived molecules might have concentrated further, undergoing additional reactions in liquid water that Titan's frigid surface can't facilitate. But Titan's haze also presents a puzzle. While it creates organics efficiently, its surface is too cold for these molecules to progress toward life as we know it. Earth, with its warmer temperatures and liquid water, could have taken that next step. The Cassini spacecraft's analysis of Titan's atmosphere revealed another clue. The haze layers contain molecules like hydrogen cyanide and cyanocetylene, both crucial for forming nucleobases. These same compounds have been detected in experiments mimicking early Earth's conditions, hinting at a universal chemical pathway. What makes this theory so compelling is its testability. NASA's Dragonfly mission, set to explore Titan's surface in the 2030s, will directly sample tholin-rich regions, giving us an unprecedented look at these complex organics. If they resemble the products of early Earth simulations, it would strengthen the case that our planet's first organic molecules were homegrown in its own hazy skies. Until then, Titan remains a tantalizing twin, a world where chemistry similar to Earth's infancy still plays out today, frozen in time but whispering secrets about how life might have begun. Phosphorus might not be the first element that comes to mind when thinking about life's origins, but without it, biology as we know it would be impossible. This unsung hero of the periodic table forms the backbone of DNA, powers cellular energy in ATP, and even helps build cell membranes. Yet one of the biggest mysteries in prebiotic chemistry is how phosphorus, often locked away in insoluble minerals, became available to fuel life's earliest reactions. The answer might lie in a group of minerals called phosphides, which could have acted as Earth's first phosphorus delivery system, unlocking this critical element in ways that set the stage for life's molecular machinery. Picture a young Earth, its landscapes dotted with meteorites rich in schreibersite, a iron-nickel phosphide mineral. When these space rocks crashed into the planet's surface and encountered water, something remarkable happened. The phosphides reacted violently, releasing highly reactive phosphorus compounds like phosphite and hypophosphite. Unlike the phosphate we're familiar with today, these reduced forms of phosphorus are far more soluble and reactive, meaning they could have readily combined with organic molecules to form organophosphates, the very compounds that now form the scaffolding of life's energy and genetic systems. Lab experiments have recreated this process with striking results. When scientists simulate meteorite impacts by grinding schreibersite into water-containing mixtures, they observe the rapid formation of phosphorylated molecules, including nucleotides like adenosine monophosphate, a close relative of ATP. Even more astonishing, these reactions don't require elaborate conditions, just water, the mineral, and a bit of mechanical energy from grinding or heating, all of which would have been plentiful on early Earth. The chemistry is so efficient that some researchers describe it as a geochemical bypass, skipping the need for phosphorus to first dissolve in the oceans where it might have remained trapped in insoluble forms. But the story doesn't end with meteorites. Hydrothermal vents, particularly those in alkaline environments, could have provided another phosphorus source. Serpentinization, the same process that generates hydrogen gas in these systems, also produces minerals like vivianite, which slowly release phosphate under heat and pressure. When these phosphate ions encounter organic molecules like glycerol or nucleosides in the vent's mineral-rich fluids, they can form stable phosphorylated compounds. Recent studies of lost city-type vents have detected traces of these reactions, suggesting that Earth's geology might have offered multiple pathways to phosphorylate life's precursors. What makes these phosphorus-rich scenarios so compelling is their specificity. While many theories focus on carbon or nitrogen, phosphorus chemistry provides a missing link, a way to bridge simple organics to the complex, energy-intensive molecules that life requires. Without a mechanism to incorporate phosphorus, even the most elaborate organic soups would lack the infrastructure for replication or metabolism. Yet here, nature seems to have had a workaround, using meteorites and minerals as cosmic and geological middlemen to unlock this stubborn element. The implications stretch beyond Earth. Mars, for instance, has phosphide-rich meteorites embedded in its crust, and its ancient river valleys suggest ample water for these reactions. Even icy moons like Enceladus, with their subsurface oceans and hydrothermal activity, could be running similar phosphorus chemistry right now. It's a reminder that while life's origins might feel like an Earth-bound mystery, the ingredients and the processes that activated them could be universal, waiting only for the right conditions to stir them from chemistry into biology. Drifting between the stars, invisible to the naked eye, a simple molecule might hold the key to one of life's most complex puzzles. Formaldehyde, yes, the same compound used in labs and disinfectants today has been detected throughout our galaxy, from the icy clouds of star-forming regions to the tails of distant comets. While it's just a two-carbon molecule with a single oxygen atom, its cosmic ubiquity suggests it could have been the spark that ignited the path to RNA and ultimately life itself. The magic happens when these formaldehyde molecules bump into each other in the frozen void of space. Under the right conditions, often with the nudge of ultraviolet light or a cosmic ray, they can link together in a process called polymerization. Picture a molecular chain reaction where one formaldehyde connects to another and another, gradually building into more complex sugars. This isn't just speculation. Lab experiments simulating deep space conditions have demonstrated that formaldehyde can spontaneously form glycolaldehyde, a simple sugar, and even ribose, the exact sugar found in the backbone of RNA. These reactions unfold most efficiently in icy environments, where molecules are held close together in a frozen matrix, giving them time to rearrange into stable structures. What makes this interstellar connection so compelling is the chemistry's elegance. Formaldehyde acts like a molecular Lego brick with its reactive carbon atom eager to bond. In the cold of space, where temperatures hover near absolute zero, reactions that would be too slow or unstable on Earth can proceed with surprising efficiency. Telescopes have even spotted glycolaldehyde in distant gas clouds, proving these sugar-forming reactions aren't confined to labs. They're happening right now, light years away. But how would these space-borne sugars make their way into Earth's primordial soup? Comets and meteorites offer a plausible delivery system. When these icy wanderers slammed into our young planet, they wouldn't have just brought water. They could have carried a payload of pre-made organic compounds, including ribose and its precursors. Analyses of carbonaceous meteorites like Murchison have revealed sugar-related molecules, strengthening the case that Earth's first genetic building blocks might have had extraterrestrial origins. Of course, the journey from formaldehyde to functioning RNA isn't a straight line. While ribose is a critical component, it's notoriously unstable in water, leading some scientists to question whether it could have accumulated in sufficient quantities. Yet nature often finds workarounds. Mineral surfaces like clays could have stabilized ribose long enough for it to integrate into larger molecules, while freezing conditions, like those in space or Earth's early glaciers, might have slowed its degradation. Some researchers even propose that ribose wasn't the only sugar in play. Alternatives like threose, a simpler 4-carbon sugar, could have served as RNA's backbone before biology settled on ribose's now standard design. The interstellar formaldehyde theory reshapes our view of life's origins in a profound way. It suggests that the universe doesn't just create the ingredients for life, it actively assembles them piece by piece in the frozen darkness between stars. And if that's true, then the sugar fueling life's earliest genetic code might not be a product of Earth's chemistry at all, but a gift from the cosmos, patiently crafted over millions of years before our planet even existed. Imagine a world where the boundary between air and water, something as delicate as the skin of a bubble, could have been the stage for life's first chemical performances. This theory suggests that gas bubbles rising through Earth's early oceans might have done more than just pop at the surface. Their fleeting membranes, made of nothing more than water and surface tension, could have acted as microscopic reactors, concentrating organic molecules and fostering reactions that set the stage for life. Here's how it works when gas bubbles form underwater, whether from volcanic vents, waves, or even raindrops. They create a unique microenvironment at their surfaces. Water molecules at the bubble's edge arrange themselves into a tightly packed layer, their natural cohesion forming a barrier between the liquid and the gas inside. This interface isn't just a physical divider, it's a hotspot for chemistry. Organic molecules, which often have one end that's attracted to water and another that repels it, naturally gather at this boundary. Hydrophobic tails point inward toward the gas, while hydrophilic heads remain anchored in the water. This spontaneous organization concentrates scattered molecules into dense, reactive clusters, much like how oil droplets gather on the surface of soup. Lab experiments have brought this phenomenon to life. When scientists simulate prebiotic conditions by bubbling gases like carbon dioxide or nitrogen through water containing simple organics, they observe something remarkable. Amino acids and fatty acids accumulate at the bubble surfaces, reaching concentrations up to 1,000 times higher than in the surrounding water. Even more striking, these crowded conditions drive reactions that would otherwise be sluggish, like the linking of amino acids into short protein chains or the assembly of lipid molecules into primitive membranes. The bubble's curvature adds another layer of complexity, creating tiny pockets where different pH levels or electric charge gradients could have further fueled chemical diversity. But the real magic happens when bubbles burst. As the thin film of water at the bubble's top ruptures, it launches microscopic droplets into the air, a process that could have aerosolized organics, exposing them to ultraviolet light or atmospheric reactions before raining back down enriched with new compounds. This cycle concentration at the surface, chemical reactions and dispersal, would have turned every bubbling tide pool or geothermal spring into a natural assembly line, iterating toward greater complexity with each generation of bubbles. The parallels to living cells are hard to ignore. Modern cell membranes are built from phospholipids, molecules that, just like the organics on bubbles, self-organize at boundaries between water and air or oil. Some researchers propose that bubbles could have served as evolutionary templates, their simple physics guiding chemicals toward structures that eventually became sophisticated enough to enclose and protect life's earliest metabolic reactions. Critics point out that surface tension alone might not sustain these processes long enough for meaningful complexity to emerge. yet nature has a way of scaling up. In places like volcanic hydrothermal fields where gas ebullition is constant, or along wave-battered coastlines where foam accumulates into thick mats, bubbles wouldn't have been isolated events, they'd have been a perpetual phenomenon, offering countless opportunities for trial and error. What makes this theory so poetic is its universality. Bubbles form wherever liquid and gas meet, on early Earth, in interstellar ice grains, even on methane lakes like those on Titan. If their delicate surfaces really did play a role in life's origins, it would mean the universe has been running the same simple experiment everywhere, waiting for the right combination of molecules to stumble upon something extraordinary. So next time you watch bubbles rise in a glass of water, consider this. You might be witnessing an echo of the process that turned chemistry into biology. On the steam-shrouded edges of ancient hot springs and geyser fields, where scalding water bubbled up only to vanish under the sun's heat, nature might have been running a molecular boot camp, pushing simple organic compounds through relentless cycles of soaking and drying that forged them into something far more complex. These geothermal fields, with their rhythmic pulses of flooding and evaporation, could have acted as planetary-scale laboratories where each cycle didn't just concentrate life's building blocks but hammered them together into chains sturdy enough to kickstart biology. The power of wet-dry cycling lies in its ability to solve two of prebiotic chemistry's biggest hurdles, dilution and instability. In a vast ocean or lake, organic molecules drift apart, making meaningful interactions rare. But when water evaporates from a shallow geothermal pool, it leaves behind a concentrated residue, a molecular traffic jam where collisions become inevitable. Then, as the pool refills, fresh water brings new reactants while dissolving away waste products, resetting the stage for another round of synthesis. Lab experiments have quantified this beautifully. When researchers simulate these conditions by alternately wetting and drying mixtures of amino acids or nucleotides, they observe something remarkable: molecules that would normally float aimlessly in solution start linking into polymers. Under these cycles, amino acids form peptide chains, and nucleotides stitch together into RNA-like strands, sometimes reaching lengths of over 100 units after just a few dozen iterations. One pivotal study used a simple setup, a heated plate mimicking a hot spring's edge, where a solution of nucleotides evaporated within hours, followed by a rewetting with fresh solution. Within a week, the team detected RNA polymers up to 200 nucleotides long, proof that geothermal cycling could have bypassed the need for enzymes or complex machinery. The secret lies in the chemistry of dehydration. When water disappears, molecules are forced into close contact, and the energy once spent keeping them dissolved gets redirected into forming new bonds. Meanwhile, minerals common in geothermal fields like clay or volcanic ash likely acted as scaffolds, aligning molecules to encourage orderly polymerization rather than random clumping. Beyond the lab, real-world geothermal sites like Yellowstone's hydrothermal basins offer a glimpse of this process in action. Here, silica-rich waters deposit intricate terraces where evaporation and refilling occur daily. Analyses of these environments reveal microscopic niches where temperature and pH oscillate wildly, conditions that could have selected for molecules robust enough to withstand the chaos. Even more compelling, certain extremophile microbes thrive in these very pools today, their biochemistry hinting at ancient adaptations to cyclic environments. Their enzymes, optimized for function across a range of hydration states, might be evolutionary echoes of a time when life's first polymers had to weather constant wet-dry transitions. Critics argue that while cycling drives polymerization, it might also degrade complex molecules over time, yet nature's answer could lie in compartmentalization. Lipid molecules present in the same pools, when subjected to wet-dry cycles, spontaneously form vesicles, tiny capsules that could have protected nascent polymers from full disintegration during dry phases. Some experiments show these vesicles even encapsulate RNA strands during rehydration, creating protocells in a single geological stroke. What makes this theory so elegant is its duality. Unlike static environments, cycling systems don't just create, they select. Each dry phase becomes a filter, favoring molecules stable enough to persist, while each wet phase introduces new variables, pushing chemistry toward greater complexity. And geothermal fields aren't rare flukes, they're planetary constants found wherever geology and water intersect. From the steam vents of Iceland to the buried hot springs of Mars's ancient past, the universe might have been running this experiment everywhere, waiting for the right molecules to survive the rhythm and emerge as something alive. Among the toxic gases billowing from ancient volcanoes, one pungent molecule, sulfur dioxide, might have played an unexpected role in life's origin story. While we typically think of it as a pollutant today, this sharp-smelling gas could have been a key architect in Earth's primordial atmosphere, forging chemical pathways that turned simple molecules into life's precursors. The secret lies in its ability to transform into sulfites, compounds that act like molecular matchmakers, guiding reactive fragments into stable organic structures. Picture Earth's early skies thick with volcanic plumes where sulfur dioxide mingled with water vapor and ultraviolet light. When UV radiation strikes sulfur dioxide, it doesn't just linger, it reacts, forming sulfur trioxide and eventually sulfuric acid in the presence of water. But in the absence of free oxygen, these reactions took a different turn, producing sulfites instead. These sulfurous compounds are far more than byproducts. They're reducing agents, meaning they eagerly donate electrons to other molecules. In prebiotic chemistry, that's gold. Lab experiments show sulfites can convert formaldehyde, a simple one-carbon molecule, into sugars like ribose, the backbone of RNA. Even more remarkably, they facilitate the formation of thioesters, energy-rich molecules that modern cells still use to power metabolism. The real-world evidence for this process comes from an unlikely place, Jupiter's moon Io. Its relentless volcanic activity pumps sulfur dioxide into its thin atmosphere, where sunlight breaks it apart and reassembles it into complex sulfur polymers. While Io's surface is far too hostile for life, the chemistry mirrors what could have occurred on early Earth. Closer to home, researchers simulating Archean atmospheric conditions found that sulfur dioxide reactions produced not just sulfites, but also amino acids like cysteine, a sulfur-containing building block crucial for protein structure. What makes sulfur dioxide so versatile is its dual nature. In the upper atmosphere, it absorbs UV light, shielding delicate organics below from destructive radiation. Closer to the surface, it dissolves in water to form sulfite-rich pools, where it could have acted as both a solvent and a catalyst. Some theories suggest these sulfurous ponds might have been the birthplace of the first metabolic cycles, with sulfites shuttling electrons between molecules in a primitive version of cellular respiration. Yet the story isn't without controversy. Sulfur dioxide is corrosive, and some argue its presence would have degraded fragile organics faster than it created them. But nature often works in balances. Volcanic eruptions aren't constant, they pulse, creating periods of intense sulfur exposure followed by calm. This ebb and flow could have allowed organic molecules to accumulate during quiet intervals while still benefiting from sulfur's catalytic power during eruptions. If this theory holds, it paints a vivid picture. Life's chemistry didn't just tolerate Earth's volcanic fury, it thrived because of it, harnessing the very gases we now scrub from industrial smokestacks to weave the first threads of biology. And that raises a provocative thought: if sulfur dioxide helped spark life here, might the same be true on exoplanets with active volcanism, where telescopes have already detected its spectral signature in alien atmospheres? The universe, it seems, might have a recipe for life written in sulfur and fire. High in Earth's ancient atmosphere or buried under layers of primordial snow, a cosmic treasure might have been waiting patiently for its moment, organic molecules from space, locked away in icy vaults until the perfect conditions set them free. This theory, often called the cold trap hypothesis, suggests that life's building blocks didn't just arrive on Earth, they were preserved in frozen stasis, shielded from destruction until melting ice or shifting climates unleashed them into warmer environments where chemistry could truly flourish. Imagine interstellar dust grains coated with complex organics formed in the depths of space, drifting into Earth's early atmosphere. As they descended, they encountered water vapor freezing into ice crystals high in the cold upper layers, nature's perfect preservation chambers. These icy particles acted like microscopic time capsules, encasing fragile molecules in a protective shell that deflected UV radiation and prevented chemical degradation. Over millennia, layers of this organic-laden snow accumulated, building reservoirs of prebiotic material in glaciers, polar ice caps, or even high-altitude clouds where temperatures stayed well below freezing. The evidence for this process comes from both space and our own planet. Telescopes have detected organic molecules like formaldehyde and methanol frozen onto dust grains in molecular clouds, while experiments at facilities like the Leiden Observatory show that ice mantles in space can shield complex organics from cosmic rays. Here on Earth, glacial ice cores drilled from Antarctica contain traces of amino acids and nucleobases compounds that survived for millennia in frozen isolation. But the real magic happens when these icy archives finally melt. Lab simulations reveal that when ice containing trapped organics slowly warms, it doesn't just release its cargo randomly, it does so in stages. Simple molecules emerge first, followed by more complex ones as temperatures rise, creating a natural sequencing that could have fed chemical reactions in a stepwise manner. Meltwater pooling at the edges of receding glaciers or seasonal thaw cycles in snowfields would have concentrated these molecules into shallow pools, where evaporation and solar energy could drive further reactions. Critics question whether enough organics could have accumulated this way to make a difference, yet calculations suggest otherwise. Earth's early atmosphere lacked an ozone layer, meaning high-altitude ice clouds would have been ubiquitous, and cometary impacts, which delivered vast quantities of water ice, could have deposited organics directly onto the surface. Some estimates indicate that over a few 100 million years, these icy traps might have sequestered hundreds of tons of organic material per square kilometer, a steady drip of cosmic ingredients waiting for the thaw. What makes this theory so compelling is its bridge between two worlds. The cold of space preserves while Earth's warmth activates. Organic molecules forged in the frigid vastness between stars find sanctuary in ice, only to awaken in the liquid water and sunlight of a young planet. It's a partnership as old as the solar system itself, a reminder that life's origins might not hinge on a single dramatic event, but on the patient accumulation of cosmic gifts, one frozen layer at a time. Among the metallic elements scattered through Earth's crust, manganese might seem like an unlikely hero in life's origin story, yet this unassuming mineral could have played a pivotal role in one of prebiotic chemistry's trickiest challenges, oxidation. Unlike the violent burns of fire or the slow rust of iron, manganese's power lies in its ability to gently strip electrons from molecules, a process that might have been the missing link between simple organics and the energy harvesting systems that animate all life today. Picture shallow coastal waters on early Earth, where waves lapped against outcrops of manganese-rich minerals like bernicite or todorokite. These layered crystals, formed through interactions between seawater and volcanic rocks, have a remarkable talent. They can shuffle electrons with the precision of a molecular locksmith. When dissolved compounds like manganese ions encounter water molecules under sunlight, they trigger a cascade of reactions that produce reactive oxygen species. Unlike the destructive free radicals we hear about today, these mild oxidants could have acted as nature's earliest chemical tools, carefully modifying organic molecules to create new functionalities without obliterating them entirely. Lab experiments reveal just how elegant this chemistry can be. When researchers simulate ancient tidal environments with manganese minerals and simple organics like glycolaldehyde, a 2-carbon sugar, they observe something astonishing. The manganese doesn't just oxidize, it orchestrates. Glycolaldehyde transforms into glyceraldehyde, a 3-carbon sugar crucial for metabolism, while hydrogen peroxide forms as a byproduct. This mirrors the exact reactions modern cells use in glycolysis, the core energy pathway of all living things. Even more striking, manganese clusters are still central to photosynthesis today, embedded in the enzyme that splits water to generate oxygen, a biochemical relic that might trace back to these mineral-catalyzed beginnings. What makes manganese so special is its versatility. Unlike iron, which tends to rust irreversibly, manganese cycles gracefully between different oxidation states, acting as both a chemical battery and a catalyst. In the porous layers of minerals like bernacite, it creates microscopic reaction chambers where organics could have been concentrated and sequentially modified. Some theories suggest these mineral surfaces didn't just host reactions, they might have taught early molecules how to perform redox chemistry on their own, setting the stage for the first metabolic networks. Critics point out that manganese's reactivity depends heavily on environmental pH and sunlight exposure. Yet nature offers a compelling counterpoint, the Lost City Hydrothermal Field, where alkaline fluids rich in manganese interact with seawater to produce hydrogen, a potential energy source for early life. Meanwhile, Martian meteorites have been found to contain manganese oxides, hinting that this chemistry isn't unique to Earth. From tidal pools to deep-sea vents, manganese's quiet catalytic prowess suggests a world where minerals didn't just passively host life's origins, they actively shaped its metabolic blueprints. And if that's true, then the same chemistry that paints desert rocks with black dendrites today might once have painted the first strokes of biology's grand masterpiece. In the thick, soupy atmosphere of early Earth, devoid of oxygen but teeming with methane and nitrogen, another simple molecule might have quietly set the stage for life's molecular complexity. Acetylene, a modest 2-carbon gas with a triple bond that packs startling energy, could have been the unsung architect of aromatic hydrocarbons, those ring-shaped structures that later became cornerstones of biological molecules. Unlike today's oxygen-rich air, the planet's primordial reducing atmosphere provided the perfect playground for acetylene to transform, not through oxidation but through polymerization, a process where molecules link together like beads on a string, building larger and more intricate architectures. Lab experiments simulating these ancient conditions reveal acetylene's hidden potential. When subjected to energy sources like lightning discharges or ultraviolet radiation, acetylene molecules don't just break apart. They recombine into longer chains and, crucially, into benzene rings. These hexagonal structures are the foundation of aromatics, a class of compounds that include everything from the amino acid phenylalanine to the pigments in chlorophyll. The chemistry unfolds in steps. First, acetylene dimers form butadiene, a 4-carbon chain, which then cyclizes under further energy input. In the absence of oxygen, which would typically disrupt these reactions, the process becomes startlingly efficient. Some simulations even produce polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHM, multi-ringed structures found in meteorites and interstellar dust, suggesting this isn't just an Earth-bound phenomenon but a cosmic one. The implications are profound. Aromatic hydrocarbons aren't just passive bystanders in prebiotic chemistry, they're active participants. Their flat, stable structures excel at stacking together, forming templates that could have guided the assembly of even more complex molecules. In the Murchison meteorite, scientists have detected pHs alongside amino acids, hinting at a possible partnership where these rings acted as scaffolds or catalysts for life's building blocks. Even more intriguing, pHs absorb ultraviolet light exceptionally well, potentially shielding delicate organic reactions from the harsh radiation that bathed early Earth. Yet acetylene's story doesn't end in the atmosphere. Volcanic vents and hydrothermal systems could have concentrated the gas, creating localized pockets where polymerization ran wild. Imagine a fumarole spewing acetylene-rich plumes into cooled mineral crevices, the molecules condensing on clay surfaces, their triple bonds vibrating with untapped potential until heat or a stray spark knits them into something new. Modern analogues exist in places like Yellowstone's mud pots, where acetylene derivatives still form abiotically, proving the chemistry persists even today. What makes this theory so compelling is its bridge between simplicity and sophistication. Acetylene is just 2 carbons and 2 hydrogens, a molecule so basic it's used in welding torches. Yet under the right conditions, it weaves itself into the very frameworks that biology would later co-opt for structure, function, and even information storage. And if acetylene could do this here, why not in the methane-rich skies of Titan or the volcanic exoplanets scattered across the galaxy? The universe, it seems, has a knack for turning the humblest ingredients into the stuff of life. For decades, the origins of life debate has been divided into 2 camps: those who argue that RNA came first, forming the basis for genetics before proteins existed, and those who believe metabolism or protein-like molecules led the way. But what if the answer isn't one or the other? The peptide nucleic acid world hypothesis proposes a brilliant compromise, that life's earliest replicators were neither pure RNA nor pure protein, but molecular chimeras blending the strengths of both. These hybrid molecules, known as peptide nucleic acids or PNAs, have backbones made of peptide-like links similar to proteins, while their side chains mimic the nucleobases of RNA and DNA. In lab experiments, PNAs display a remarkable talent. They can self-assemble without enzymes, pair with complementary strands just like RNA, and even catalyze simple reactions. Unlike fragile RNA, which falls apart easily in water or under UV light, PNAs are rugged, resistant to heat, radiation, and chemical degradation. That durability would have been critical on a young Earth, where harsh conditions might have shredded delicate genetic material before it could replicate. The theory gains traction when you consider how PNAs might form naturally. In hydrothermal vents or tidal pools, amino acids and nucleobases could have adsorbed onto mineral surfaces like clay or pyrite, aligning in close proximity. Under cycles of wetting and drying, or with gentle heating, these ingredients might stitch together into PNA strands through simple dehydration reactions. Lab simulations confirm this when researchers mix nucleobases with amino acids like glycine under prebiotic conditions. They observe the spontaneous formation of PNA-like oligomers. Even more compelling, PNAs can template the synthesis of RNA, hinting at how this hybrid system could have eventually transitioned into the RNA world we know today. But PNAs offer more than just stability. Their peptide backbone gives them flexibility, literally. Unlike the rigid helix of RNA, PNAs can twist and fold into shapes capable of rudimentary catalysis, bridging the gap between information storage and function. Some studies suggest early PNAs might have formed short loops or pockets that accelerated their own replication, a primitive form of self-reinforcement. Others propose that PNAs could have acted as molecular adapters, linking amino acids into peptides while simultaneously storing the instructions for those peptides in their nucleobase sequences. This dual talent, genetics and chemistry in one molecule, could have solved one of life's biggest chicken and egg dilemmas: which came first, replication or metabolism? Critics point out that PNAs haven't been found in nature today, but that might not be surprising. If PNAs were evolutionary stepping stones, biology could have discarded them once more efficient systems evolved. Alternatively, traces might linger undetected. Some researchers speculate that certain poorly understood orphan molecules in modern cells, like non-coding RNAs with peptide attachments, could be relics of this ancient hybrid era. The peptide nucleic acid world paints a vivid picture of life's origins, not as a sudden triumph of one molecule over another, but as a messy, collaborative dance where chemistry explored every possible partnership. In this view, life didn't spring forth fully formed but evolved its elegance through trial and error, with PNAs serving as molecular training wheels until RNA and proteins found their footing. And if that's true, it suggests the universe's path to biology might be far more flexible and far more ingenious than we ever imagined. Deep in the frigid hearts of interstellar molecular clouds, where temperatures hover just above absolute zero and densities are 1,000,000 times thinner than Earth's atmosphere, a quiet revolution in chemistry may have been unfolding. These cosmic nurseries, brimming with dust and gas, aren't just the birthplaces of stars. They could also be factories for life's raw materials, concentrating and organizing organic molecules long before planets ever formed. The key lies in their inevitable collapse, a slow-motion gravitational cascade that doesn't just birth stars, it squeezes and enriches the surrounding soup of molecules, turning diffuse clouds into chemical pressure cookers. As these clouds contract under their own gravity, something counterintuitive happens. While most regions grow denser and hotter near the nascent star, the outermost layers remain freezing cold, creating a stark temperature gradient. In these chilly outskirts, icy dust grains act like microscopic sponges, trapping simple molecules like water, carbon monoxide, and ammonia. But it's the radiation from the newborn star, still buried deep within the collapsing core, that kickstarts the magic. As ultraviolet photons and cosmic rays penetrate the cloud, they shatter these frozen molecules into reactive fragments. The resulting radicals skitter across the grain surfaces, colliding and combining into more complex organics. Lab experiments simulating these conditions have recreated this process step by step, watching as ice-coated grains exposed to radiation spontaneously generate compounds like glycolaldehyde, a sugar precursor, and even amino acids. Astrochemical models reveal the staggering efficiency of this system. A single collapsing cloud can concentrate organics by a factor of 1,000 or more, as drifting molecules pile up in the densest regions like snowflakes in a blizzard. Telescopes have spotted these very compounds in protostellar clouds like Sagittarius B2, a massive star-forming region where radio astronomers have identified over 200 different organic molecules, from methanol to ethylene glycol. Some of these molecules, like formamide, are direct precursors to nucleobases, the letters of life's genetic code. What makes this theory so compelling is its universality. Every star in the galaxy, including our Sun, was born from such a cloud. That means the same processes that forged our solar system's organic inventory could be happening right now in distant stellar nurseries, from Orion's swirling gases to the Carina Nebula's towering pillars. And when these clouds finally spawn planets, they don't just deliver water and minerals, they rain down a pre-made toolkit of organic molecules, concentrated and preserved in comets and asteroids. Yet the story doesn't end with collapse. The turbulence within these clouds creates pockets of varying density and chemistry, fostering a diversity of organic synthesis. Some regions, rich in carbon, might produce aromatic hydrocarbons, while others, flush with nitrogen, could favor amino acids. This patchwork ensures that when planetary systems eventually form, they inherit not just a uniform slurry of organics, but a rich tapestry of chemical possibilities, each strand a potential thread in life's eventual tapestry. So next time you gaze at the Orion Nebula's glowing gas, remember, those swirling cosmic clouds aren't just pretty backdrops. They're cosmic kitchens where gravity and radiation conspire to turn stardust into the building blocks of biology, one collapsing core at a time. And if the models are right, this silent alchemy isn't rare. It's the universe's default setting, quietly preparing the ingredients for life wherever stars are born. Carbon dioxide, as we know it, is a gas in our atmosphere, a byproduct of respiration, and even the bubbles in our soda. But under extreme pressures and temperatures, it transforms into something extraordinary. Supercritical carbon dioxide exists in a nebulous state between liquid and gas, where it takes on properties of both. At pressures around 73 times Earth's surface level and temperatures above 31 degrees Celsius, CO2 becomes a solvent with the density of a liquid but the diffusivity of a gas, capable of penetrating materials like a fluid while retaining the reactivity of a vapor. This hybrid state might seem like a mere scientific curiosity, but in the depths of early Earth, particularly near hydrothermal vents or subduction zones, supercritical CO2 could have acted as a hidden architect of prebiotic chemistry. The magic lies in its dual nature. Unlike water, which can break apart delicate organic molecules through hydrolysis, supercritical CO2 is gentler, yet just reactive enough to foster key synthesis. Under these conditions, simple molecules like formamide or hydrogen cyanide dissolve readily, their normally sluggish reactions accelerated by CO2's unique solvation properties. Lab experiments reveal startling transformations, amino acids polymerizing into short peptides, or phosphate groups attaching to nucleosides, forming the backbone of genetic molecules. Even more intriguing, supercritical CO2 acts as a molecular sieve. Its density can be fine-tuned with small pressure changes, selectively concentrating certain reactants while excluding others, a built-in purification system that might have guided early chemistry toward complexity. Hydrothermal systems offer a plausible stage for this process. In the labyrinth of pores within vent minerals, where searing fluids meet crushing pressures, localized pockets of supercritical CO2 could have formed transiently. Here, carbon dioxide wouldn't just be a passive participant. It could have teamed up with metal catalysts like iron or nickel sulfides, which are abundant in vent structures. Together, they might have enabled reactions like the Fischer-Tropsch process, where hydrogen and carbon monoxide combine into hydrocarbons. On early Earth, similar reactions could have churned out lipid precursors, crucial for forming cell membranes. The evidence isn't purely theoretical. In Iceland's Hellishay, the geothermal plant, engineers accidentally discovered supercritical CO2 interacting with basaltic rock to produce organic compounds, a modern echo of what might have occurred billions of years ago. Yet supercritical CO2 potential extends beyond synthesis. Its ability to lower the energy barriers for reactions could have solved one of prebiotic chemistry's biggest headaches: how to assemble polymers without enzymes. In water, linking amino acids or nucleotides requires energy to overcome the competing tendency of hydrolysis. But in supercritical CO2, dehydration reactions, where water is expelled to form bonds, become energetically favorable. Simulations show that under these conditions, nucleic acids can spontaneously extend into longer chains, while fatty acids aggregate into membrane-like structures. It's as if supercritical CO2 provides a Goldilocks environment, not too harsh, not too inert, but just right for threading molecules together. The implications ripple outward. If supercritical CO2 played a role in life's origins, it expands the range of possible birthplaces. Subsurface pockets on Mars, where ancient magma once met frozen CO2 ice sheets, or the high-pressure oceans of icy moons like Europa could harbor similar conditions. Even distant exoplanets with thick CO2 atmospheres might host this chemistry in their crustal layers. What makes this theory so compelling is its reminder that life's building blocks didn't need a single perfect environment, just a convergence of physics and chemistry creative enough to turn the impossible into the inevitable. And in the silent, pressurized depths of a young planet, supercritical carbon dioxide might have been the quiet alchemist that helped stitch stardust into biology. Quantum mechanics might seem like the last place to look for clues about life's origins after all. How could the bizarre behavior of subatomic particles possibly influence something as tangible as organic molecules? Yet at the frigid frontiers of space, where temperatures plunge near absolute zero and classical chemistry grinds to a halt, quantum tunneling could have been the universe's secret shortcut, enabling reactions that otherwise should have been impossible. Imagine two molecules drifting through an interstellar cloud, their energy so sapped by the cold that they lack the strength to overcome the barrier between them. In our everyday world, that would be the end of the story, but in the quantum realm, particles don't always play by the rules of Newtonian physics. There's a chance, however faint, that these molecules could simply tunnel through the energy barrier as if it weren't there, merging into something new without the heat or pressure we'd consider essential. This phenomenon isn't just theoretical. Lab experiments simulating deep space conditions have caught quantum tunneling in the act. When scientists chilled mixtures of hydrogen and carbon monoxide to a mere 10 degrees above absolute zero, they observed the formation of formaldehyde, a reaction that, under classical chemistry, should have required thousands of times more energy. Even more strikingly, tunneling explains the presence of complex molecules like methanol and even glycine, the simplest amino acid, in regions of space where thermal reactions are virtually unthinkable. The James Webb Space Telescope has detected these compounds in the icy reaches of protoplanetary disks, where temperatures hover around -260 degrees Celsius, challenging traditional models of chemical synthesis. But tunneling's implications go beyond mere molecule formation. It could solve one of prebiotic chemistry's biggest puzzles: how delicate reactions persisted in the freezing voids between stars. Take the case of chiral molecules, those with left and right-handed versions that are mirror images of each other. Life on Earth overwhelmingly uses one-handedness, left-handed amino acids, right-handed sugars, and tunneling might explain why. Quantum effects can subtly favor one chiral form over another during reactions, and if these biases occurred in interstellar ice grains, they could have seeded the homochirality we see in biology today. Some experiments with polarized electrons mimicking the influence of stellar magnetic fields have shown tunneling reactions producing slight excesses of one chiral form, hinting at how quantum quirks might have tipped life scales billions of years ago. The wildest possibility, quantum tunneling might not be confined to space. On early Earth, icy comets delivering organic material could have preserved these tunneling-facilitated molecules, depositing them in environments where warmer temperatures allowed further complexity to emerge. Even now, extremophile microbes in Antarctic ice or deep sea brine pockets exhibit enzymes that exploit quantum effects at cold temperatures, suggesting nature never abandoned this trick, it just built upon it. So while we often picture life's origins as a product of heat, lightning, or turbulent oceans, the truth might be far stranger. The same quantum rules that let particles blink in and out of existence could have quietly orchestrated the first steps toward biology in the coldest, darkest corners of the cosmos, proving that sometimes the universe writes its recipes in a language we're only beginning to decode. From the violent chaos of asteroid impacts to the quiet chemistry of interstellar ice grains, from deep Earth pressure cookers to the electric frenzy of volcanic lightning, we've journeyed through 30 astonishing theories about how the universe's first organic molecules might have formed. Each one is a testament to human curiosity and the sheer creativity of nature, offering wildly different yet equally plausible pathways from stardust to life. Some ideas feel like they're ripped from science fiction, like Panspermia's cosmic hitchhikers or quantum tunneling subatomic loopholes. Others, like the rhythmic pulses of tidal pools or the catalytic power of humble clay, remind us that simplicity often hides profound ingenuity. What's truly breathtaking isn't just the diversity of these theories, it's how many of them could be true simultaneously. Life's origins might not hinge on a single eureka moment, but on a symphony of processes playing across time and space. Meteorites delivered organics while hydrothermal vents assembled them. Ice shields molecules in space only for volcanic lightning to energize them on Earth. RNA might have emerged from formamide baths while proteins took shape on the surfaces of bubbling geothermal pools. The universe, it seems, was throwing everything at the wall to see what stuck, and somehow, against all odds, it worked. This isn't just a story about the past. Every discovery, from organic-laden comets to extremophile microbes in acid lakes, reshapes how we search for life beyond Earth. If life's ingredients form readily in icy nebulae or deep-sea vents, then the galaxy could be teeming with potential, waiting only for the right conditions to ignite. And that's why scientists keep pushing, probing meteorites with lasers, simulating alien oceans in labs, and even designing missions to drill into Europa's icy shell. The mystery of life's origins isn't just about where we came from, it's about how alone or how accompanied we truly are in the cosmos. So what's your take? Did life spark in a thunderstorm's electric fury or in the patient rhythm of wet and dry cycles? Maybe you're convinced by the elegance of alkaline vents or your team interstellar delivery. Drop your favorite theory in the comments. We'd love to hear which idea makes your brain light up like a prebiotic chemical reaction. And if you're hungry for more cosmic mysteries, hit that subscribe button. The universe has plenty of puzzles left to unravel, and we're just getting started. After all, the greatest scientific stories aren't just about answers, they're about the thrill of